Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a Lavaca County drug dealer is heading for a long stay in state prison. Opening statements in the trial of a former Uvalde school officer connected to the Robb Elementary School massacre. And lawsuits are filed by the family of a former Texas A&M student who died under mysterious circumstances.
Couple more days of this warm January weather. By the time we get to the weekend, you'll be looking for a jacket because it will feel like January. I'll have your forecast coming up.
And we have Tuesday night high school hoops happening all over the Crossroads. Preview some of the top matchups later on in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Shauna Curry is on assignment. The City of Victoria is taking the next steps with the Civil Service Board established by voters in the November election. The city tonight will appoint the 3 members who will be on the Civil Service Board that oversees personnel policies for the Victoria Fire Department. And things like hiring, promotions, and disciplinary measures are all decided on by 3 civilians appointed by the city manager and council. Civil commissioners must meet a few requirements. They must be a U.S. citizen of good moral character. They must have been a City of Victoria resident for at least 3 years. They must be at least 25 years old, and they must not have held a public office within the last 3 years. That does not include volunteer boards or other commissions. The city has not yet released the names of the applicants or who they'll choose to be on the board. That will be decided during the ongoing city council meeting here in the next few moments. In fact, they're meeting right now. A Lavaca County drug dealer is sentenced on 6 controlled substance charges. Marcus Harper pleaded guilty to the charges Monday. The sentences for each charge will run concurrently, with the longest being 25 years. Authorities say Harper was arrested following a long-term investigation that resulted in multiple narcotic seizures. Several charges included enhancements for being carried out in designated drug-free zones, meaning he'll have to serve 5 years before he's eligible for parole. After nearly 4 years after a deadly shooting at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, a former school police officer is standing trial. Adrian Gonzalez was the first officer to arrive at the school, where ultimately 19 children and 2 teachers were killed. He's facing 29 counts of child endangerment or abandonment. Lee Waldman brings us the latest from the courthouse.
Count 7 is for the child Layla Marie Salazar.
As the names of the 19 Robb Elementary 4th graders who were killed in May 2022 and their 10 surviving classmates were read in a Nueces County courtroom, defendant Adrian Gonzalez stood facing the jury. The former Uvalde CISD school police officer is facing 29 counts of child endangerment or abandonment, accused for his failure to stop a gunman who ultimately killed 21 people. He has pleaded not guilty.
The children in 111 and 112 are done as they're trained. In the dark, lights off, be quiet, hide, and wait for Adrian Gonzalez.
More than 370 officers stood in the hallway for 77 minutes while the shooter went between adjoining classrooms. Gonzalez was the first to arrive. The indictment read to the jury explains Gonzalez had been advised of the shooter's general location and that he had time to respond, but did not before the gunman got inside the classrooms. His defense team acknowledged the horror of what happened during the final week of the school year, but said the sole responsibility lay with the gunman and painted a picture of a chaotic scene.
It's awful. But Adrian Gonzalez did the best he could with what he knew at the time.
Members of some of the victims' families sat in the gallery, wiping away tears as the first witness by the prosecution was called, and graphic, emotional 911 calls were played. I'm Lee Waldman reporting.
If convicted, Gonzalez could face 6 months to 2 years in jail and a fine of up to $10,000 for each count. Let's go to Mac Pettis with the first look at the forecast. This Chamber of Commerce weather keeps coming our way, Mac, but there's change ahead?
Yes, there is. As a matter of fact, by Saturday morning, you're going to be looking for a jacket because the north wind's going to blow in and put us back into January-like temperatures. Again, tonight, we're going to look at a lot of fog. So if you had trouble driving this morning, we're going to have that same problem again tomorrow morning. Out on the west coast, there it is. There's a storm that's going to be dipping around and rolling into Texas and changing us back to what we're supposed to be doing at this time of year. January. All that coming up in a moment. Don, back to you.
Mac, thank you. As the new year kicks off, one local financial group says now's the perfect time to take a closer look at where your money is really going. 25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley spoke with an advisor and joins us with what he learned.
Yes, Don, planning for the future can be overwhelming, but local financial advisor says it doesn't have to be. The goal of a financial advisor is helping people think ahead, whether it's building a savings cushion or preparing for a child's education. It starts with setting clear, realistic saving goals and taking small steps to get there. President of Road Financial Group, Michelle Road, has been in the Victoria area for more than 10 years and encourages people to keep track of their spending, whether that means to spend less in certain areas or just simply earn more by creating a budget.
We're honored to be able to serve people in this way, to change lives, and I would say my advice to people is to not get too bogged down overthinking it or getting overwhelmed. Reach out for help, whether it's me as a financial advisor or somebody else you get along with.
Road urges people to assess where they want to be financially, look at their credit score, and set a goal on how much they'd like to save.
From personal experience, one thing that's really sad is when people walk in here and they're tired, they're ready to slow down and not work as much anymore in retirement age, maybe 65 years old, and they haven't saved anything for retirement.
Road Financial Group helps people take a closer look at their total expenses so they're able to save more for their future. Road encourages have an attorney and lawyer that can help track your spending. Don?
Ray, thank you. A Houston attorney presented new witness evidence about the about the death of Brianna Aguilera, a Texas A&M student who fell to her death from a high-rise apartment in Austin in November. Tony Busby said testimony from a neighbor of Aguilera's said she had not been contacted by Austin police to be interviewed. Busby also announced lawsuits against 2 UT organizations. The suit alleges Aguilera was illegally overserved alcohol at a tailgate event hosted by the 2 organizations earlier that evening. Aguilera was 19 years old. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton gets a temporary restraining order against Samsung. The order stops Samsung from using its smart TV technology to spy on Texans in their own homes. Samsung was found to be collecting personal user data through automated content recognition, or ACR, technology. This technology captured screenshots of its TVs every 500 milliseconds without the knowledge and consent of consumers. The order prevents Samsung from continuing to use, sell, transfer, collect, or share data relating to Texas consumers. The Texas branch of the American Federation of Teachers sued the Texas Education Agency over its investigations into hundreds of educators' social media posts following the assassination of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk. Attorneys for Texas AFT are asking a judge to order the agency to stop the investigations. The TEA said it received more than 350 complaints about educators' media posts about Kirk's death. The lawsuit charges the agency fails to define what it meant by inappropriate content. If you see news happening, call our newsroom at 361-576-0026 or send us an email at staff@crossroadstoday.com. Shares of Houston-based Chevron, the only U.S. oil company operating in Venezuela, jumped 6.4% when markets opened yesterday after the removal of dictator Nicolas Maduro on Saturday. Venezuela sits on the largest proven crude oil reserves in the world at 303 billion barrels. That represents 17% of global oil reserves. Chevron appeared to be best positioned among the oil majors to benefit from U.S. involvement in Venezuelan crude restoration projects. Chevron still has a presence in that country. Rainbow trout fishing opens at the Riverside Park Duck Pond. Texas Parks and Wildlife stocked the duck pond with 850 rainbow trout. An additional 850 trout will be added to the pond in February. The trout are provided at no cost to the city. Only pole and line fishing is permitted. There is no size limit for any of the fish currently in the duck pond. Anglers may keep no more than 5 fish per day. A fishing license is required for all anglers 17 or older and for adults accompanying an angler under 17. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, a caregiver is arrested in Florida. Find out who gave authorities a tip. Also ahead, find out which airlines in the world will not leave you waiting at the gate. The National Council on Aging says 10 to 20% of Americans over the age of 60 have experienced some sort of elder abuse. A man in Florida says he's among those statistics. Rachel Perry reports his former caregiver is charged with robbery and battery. And a warning for our viewers, images in this story may be disturbing for some viewers.
The note was short, but the message was urgent. Just 3 words: call the police.
She almost violently grabbed my hand, and finally I couldn't stand the pain because she was really squeezing it hard.
The 81-year-old man is talking about his now former live-in caretaker, Denise Williams.
And every month, every day, she got a little bit worse.
Things came to a head last week when he says Williams began yelling at him over the state of his bathroom, so he tried calling 911.
She jumped on my chest. I was laying down trying to get my phone, and she just jumped on my chest and started grabbing at my phone. And she finally got it. Scratched me, as you saw.
Telling WPBF 25 News, Williams made sure he couldn't call for help.
Then she grabbed my phone and the 2 house phones, the landline phones, and my car keys, dumped them in a room and locked the door.
But he didn't give up.
So I wrote the little note, put it in the mailbox.
Now help came from an unexpected place. A postal worker spotted the note and called police. Now the victim telling me he's forever grateful they did.
I wrote a little note saying, "Thank you very much for Monday."
As for his former caretaker, police say Williams was found at a nearby gas station with the victim's debit card and checkbook. She's now in the Palm Beach County Jail on a list of charges, including robbery and battery on an elderly victim.
If you think someone elderly is experiencing life-threatening danger, you should call 911. To get more news, weather, and sports, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. AT&T is moving its global headquarters from downtown Dallas to Plano. In a memo to staff, AT&T CEO said the company will build a new campus on 54 acres. The company plans to partially occupy the space by the second half of 2028. The company has about 6,000 workers at the Dallas headquarters. It says the move is in service of employee experience and will allow the company to combine its 3 North Texas corporate campuses into one. AT&T requires corporate workers to come into the office 5 days a week. If you want your flight to be on time, your best bet is to fly overseas. A new report on the most punctual airlines and airports showed that international options have fewer delays. Delta was the top North American airline, coming in at number 10 worldwide with more than 80% of on-time arrivals. The top U.S. airports for timeliness were Honolulu, Salt Lake City, and Portland, Oregon. Qatar Airways was named the world's best airline, and Istanbul, Turkey had the best airport. Oklahoma, already known for its place in Tornado Alley, is now the state with the highest concentration of lightning in the country. The new ranking bumps Florida off the top spot in lightning strike density. Weather monitors found Oklahoma had 73 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes per square mile last year. A lightning scientist with the group says the Great Plains region of the U.S. is becoming more of an active area for intense storms. The states behind Oklahoma in lightning density are Florida, Louisiana, and Kansas. Didn't see Texas on that list, Mac.
And and we have a greater mass area, so you thought, we would be they've concentrated all in one spot. Anyway, good evening, folks. We're looking at a temperature right now of about 74 degrees. It's rather humid, and if you had trouble this morning driving with the soupy skies, the fog, we're going to have that problem again tonight. So probably after midnight, we'll go back to zero visibility. 80 was our high, 62 was our overnight low, but we're supposed to be about 65 and 40. That's average. That's a 30-year average for January. Well, starting this weekend, looks like we're going back to average, and that'll be good. We'll talk about it coming up after this. Well, we've been in the 80-degree temperature range since before Christmas, remember? So it's about time that we get back to a little bit more seasonal weather. Now tonight, of course, the humidity is fairly high. As a result, we're going to have another night or morning really, of fog to deal with tomorrow early. If you're driving early, if you had trouble today, you're going to have trouble again tomorrow. But out on the west coast, the big storm is gathering strength. It is dropping down along Southern California. It'll be turning around and then coming up. It should be spreading rain into Arizona by tomorrow, then New Mexico on probably Thursday, and then into Texas by the time we get to Friday. So yes, that is the beginning of a big change that'll get us back to traditional weather pattern. Now, here's an interesting situation. You see how these little lines are kind of concentric here? That is what we call a cutoff low. Basically, it travels on its own and it takes its own sweet time. Up here, where the lines are really close together, is where the jet stream is, and that's where the storms generally will flow very rapidly across the country. This one's going to take its sweet time to get across the southern Rockies before it affects our weather. And we'll talk about what it will do for us over the next 5 days. There you see the foggy skies that we expect overnight, probably certainly after midnight for sure. We'll be down to half-mile visibility. Tomorrow morning, some of you are going to be going like this, trying to find the way. And of course, around the school districts, you just got to be really careful as you might not even see the kids with the fog being so thick. Now, this is the next 5 days of rainfall. Here we go Tuesday, we go to Wednesday, nothing happening as far as we're concerned. We go to Thursday, and you can see how the storm starts bringing rain to far west Texas. This is not huge storms. This is pretty much a winter sort of steady kind of heavy drift, heavy heavy mist to rainfall, but it starts getting piled up in terms of moisture for us, so that gets interesting. But on Friday is when we get a pretty good chance of getting some sort of rain around here. It's not huge rain, but it'll be damp and wet. But it's not cold just yet. You can see how the storm is beginning to affect much of Texas, and that's how we get into Saturday, and that's when we get the big frontal system that will change the temperatures. Watch this, 82, then 83, and then 80, and then boom, we drop down to 61 and 60 on Sunday. Overnights here. Over the weekend, we'll get down into the upper 30s and near 40. So it will be blanket time again. Certainly, you're going to be looking for a jacket on Saturday morning if you plan to go outdoors. We are looking at how the moisture will pile up over our area for Wednesday morning. You can see it right about there. We may have a little mist or drizzle out of it, but that's not the main event. The main event is out here on Thursday. That's when the rain begins in North Texas. That's when we start piling up a little bit of sprinkle activity around our area on Thursday. And then again on Friday, you can see it right there. And then the frontal system blows through here about sometime after midnight. By Saturday morning, when you open the door, it's going to come hit you in the face because it's going to be a fairly strong gusty wind blowing. Tomorrow we'll get up to about 77 after the morning fog, and then in Cuero you'll get up to about 81 after the morning fog. 7-day forecast shows you we got the last few days of summer-like weather for Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday in the 60s, Sunday in the 60s, Monday and Tuesday in the 60s. So all of a sudden it's going to feel like January. How about that? That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Don.
Thank you, Max. Sports Director Max Williams is here talking with the Titan about going to the next level.
That is absolutely correct, Don. After the break, we're going to highlight who that athlete is going to be, a football and track lead with that pen to paper. Find out who that is next. So last week we highlighted a big signing with Victoria East football and track star Isaiah Taylor announcing his commitment to St. Thomas Aquinas College out in New York. And last year, Taylor on the football field had 35 total tackles and then 25 solo tackles. And last year for track, he competed out there in the 100, 200, and 400 long jump. Had some good success. They're going all the way out there to regionals. So having that success on the football field and on the track, he decided to play both sports at the next level and wants to do his best.
I'm excited to do both. Really, for the football, playing safety, really, just locking down receivers and everything. And for track, I'm really ready for long jump and triple.
Now you can tell again he's excited to do the long jump and triple jump, and he's excited to do stuff for the football field as well. So can't wait to see how he does pursuing his dreams playing collegiate football in track and field. And over to Tuesday night hoops action. We have a major 3A clash between the Industrial Cobras facing the number 12 ranked Tidehaven Tigerettes in girls basketball. The Tigerettes heading this one with a 3-0 district record, while the Cobras heading this one at 2-1. However, I believe whoever wins this game will have a good chance to kind of run the table out there in District 25. And so this tip-off started about 10 minutes ago. And again, this game will be followed by the boys game, which will be at Industrial as well at 7:30 p.m. Staying in that same district in Jackson County, where the Edna Cowgirls are battling the Palacios Sharks. And for the Cowgirls, they are 1-2 overall, while again 18-5 overall record, 1-2 in district, and kind of looking to flip the switch versus Palacios, who's 2-1 in district and 14-8 overall. And again, same thing. Again, the boys team for Palacios is very strong too, already having a 2-1 district start. That game will be right after as well at 7:30 p.m. Now we got some 5A girls basketball, where the Lady Titans are hosting the Terry Rangers in district play tonight out there at East High School. The Titans heading into this one 6-13 overall, but 2-0 in district, with Terry 8-9 overall, 1-2 in district. And during halftime of this game, they're going to honor senior Avery Valentine for becoming East all-time leading scorer. So we're going to have that coverage with all those scores, including this score from boys basketball out there, where the number 3 ranked in TAPS 2A in Faith Academy is going to be facing the Victoria Cobras for boys basketball. It's going to be out there at Faith Academy basketball gym, and it's going to start at 7:30 p.m. Now taking a break out there from basketball action over to girls powerlifting, as the first meet for the season for the Calhoun Sandies was this weekend at Victoria East Invitational, and they had 60 points overall, as Andrea Enriquez got first place with 610 pounds lifted in total with all the lifts, whether it's deadlift, bench press, or again back squat as well. And then Haley Torres at first place with 820 pounds total lifted, and then shout out to Amy Rico, 935 pounds total lifted there. So their next meet will be Saturday, January 10th at Sinton High School. And if you want to see all the placers that also advanced to regionals and who just did well at Victoria East Invitationals, go to crosswordstoday.com/sports. And finally, St. Joseph girls and boys swim teams participated in the 2026 Houston area TICA championships from yesterday, and the boys had a 5th place overall finish, with Jackson Southern in 2nd place in the 50-yard freestyle and then 6th in the butterfly. Jack Ornado got 3rd place overall in the 100 backstroke and 100 freestyle. Then shout out to the top girl swimmer in Claire, who placed in 3rd place overall in the 100-yard freestyle, 7th in the 50 freestyle. So a lot of placements. So same thing. If you want to check it all out, just go to crosswordstoday.com/sports. And that'll do it here in sports. Don, back to you.
Thank you, Max, and we're back in a moment. A church in Florida celebrates an event by tossing a cross into the water. What they are celebrating, that's after the break. Finally tonight, the St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Cathedral in Florida commemorated the baptism of Jesus Christ with its 120th Epiphany celebration. The ceremony is held each year on January 6th, 12 days after Christmas. The event spotlights the tossing of a white cross into the water by the Archbishop. Young men between the ages of 16 and 18 dive into the water and race to retrieve the cross. The one who does pull it from the water is considered blessed for the entire year. Tarpon Springs Epiphany is considered the largest in the Western Hemisphere, over 20,000.
Wow, 20,000.
In that, yes, 20,000.
Well, at least it's in Florida.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, well, that's true.
If it's in Ohio, it'd be a different deal.
It'd be different, yeah, a little bit chillier there. I don't know if
Jumping
it'd be-
through ice,
Yeah.
maybe,
exactly.
which is not a good idea to begin with.
Not doing that here, though.
No.
Well, they can do it tomorrow, you know, if they're going to do it here, because tomorrow we'll still be in the 80s. We'll have a lot of fog in the morning, folks, so keep that in mind. That the summer-like temperatures will be with us until Friday. Late Friday night, probably after midnight, cold front, north wind blows in, and all of a sudden, it's going to feel like January with temperatures only topping out at around 60 degrees through most of next week. So the entire week should say, shall we say, seasonal, as opposed to this abnormal weather pattern we've had.
And a little wetter, too. You've got some percentages
A
up
little
there.
rain. I wouldn't call it significant rain, but it will be damp, so with a little moisture as well.
All right, thank you, Mac. Thanks for joining us. Hope you'll join us tonight for 25 News Now at 10.